Our low budget mage deck only costs 1520 Arcane Dust to make. That does not include the common cards, and it's a perfect deck for getting you through to at least rank 10. Look, this deck is extremely aggressive, and you should have no problem putting any opponent under immense pressure in the early to mid game, while powerful finishes will help you win games even if the board gets out of control later on. Your starting hand will define your early game, and you should always attempt to mulligan away any mid to late game cards. The early game is extremely important when playing an aggressive mage, and your choices during this stage of the match will have a major impact on your late game. Your minions should put as much pressure on your opponent as possible, and you should engage in minion trading only if you are given the opportunity to create card advantage. You should not attempt to save your spells for later stages of the match, but rather use them as minion removal to clear the path for your minions. Once you pass the early to mid game, you should consider saving your damage spells so you can use them to finish your opponent off. Alright, I quite like that starting hand. We have 1, 2 and 3 drops, so we can work into our 4 drop. Benefit of the coin. I've got to be very careful in what could potentially be a mirror match. I'm not quite sure what my opponent's deck configuration is. And right away we see a challenge there in front of us. So leading up with the Knife Juggler is a little bit risky, but I'm hoping to get in some incidental damage if that becomes relevant. Some may argue a Fairy Dragon would have been better to lead out with because it couldn't be targeted. But I'm going to just hold those up my sleeve.
I hope you like my invention.
Okay, so given what we've got, I'm just going to have to remove his 1/1 creature and use my Knife Juggler to take out one of his taunt creatures. Now I'll do that to try and equalise the board state. I also avoid using valuable resources out of my hand. Now I fully expect Knife Juggler to die very, very soon. Okay, so we get a bonus turn. So I think we'll drop at least 2 creatures. So start out with a Leper Gnome. Okay. 2 bonus damage to the face is always good. So I can't see how he'd leave the Knife Juggler out there. Alright, let's roll the dice. Beautiful. It's a rather strong play. Looks like I'm going to have to sacrifice one of my Fairy Dragons and follow up with my Mage Power. Now if I do that, by the end of turn 5 we'll have done 10 damage to our opponent and we'll control the board. So that's an acceptable state to work into.
I hope you like my invention.
There we go, 10 damage, and we control the board. Now the risk here is Flame Strike. I fully expect him to cast Flame Strike in turn 7, just given the board state. Now if he's going to do that, he's probably not going to play a lot of creatures. Let's see if I'm right or not.
What to do? What to do?
That's probably why my opponent's sitting there like a donkey eating a waffle.
Pay attention, class.
I am ready.
Okay, so I've reached a critical point in the game here where my decisions are going to determine basically who wins. So I've got to think long and hard about what I'm going to do. So I apologise, I'm going to sit here like a donkey eating a waffle for a while and try and work out what my best option is. I could roll the dice, but I'll try a few other options before that. Basically, I need to regain control of the board. Keep in mind, I do expect a flame strike next turn. So let's roll the dice. Okay, so I think what I'll do is trade the fairy dragon. Follow up with a mage power and do 1 point.
If you're sure.
So obviously he's not going to flame strike just one creature. But at least I have control of the board again. It's a strong answer.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
I'm trying to figure out what I have to do to draw the flame strike out of his hand. Admittedly, he might not have it, but I fully expect him to.
What to do? What to do?
Okay, so I'm going to have to lose a fireball at some point.
I hope you like my invention.
So this helps get me into the kill zone quicker. Given my hit points, I can take a couple of hits from my opponent and not have to worry too much. Happy for the Loot Hoarder to die, I get to draw a card. And Frost Nova gives me so many more options. So, yeah, there it is.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Yeah, I chose not to fireball because I want to keep that up my sleeve for now. If things really turn sour, it's nice to be able to do 6 damage to a creature. But as it stands, I think I've got this game in the bag because I've got 6 damage in hand, 6 damage on the board, which he has to deal with, and a Frost Nova.
What to do? What to do?
I guess it comes down to what I'm drawing at this stage in the game. I've got a lot of direct damage in the deck, so...
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Alright, remember, we're not playing with legendaries. There's 3 and 6 is 9. And 3 is 12. That's it. And that's why I like playing with the mage. You can just finish it off like that. And that's how we beat the mirror match.